Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back to my podcast where you can gain insight on my perspective. My name is Hayden, and this is episode 21 of 24 lessons I've learned in my 24 years of life. I can't believe this podcast series is almost over. Whenever I first created it, I was like, wow, I'm going to be filming until like September. That's crazy. And now we're almost there. So let's get into this week's episode. Lesson 21. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Learn to live your life without regrets. That was something I had to overcome many years ago because there was a lot I regretted when I was a teenager. Like I felt like I wasn't doing enough or that I wasn't enough. So I had many regrets, but then I had to work through those because I was like, I really don't want to live my life with any regrets. I don't want to live with any resentment towards anyone. So like the last few years, that has been a mission, a journey in the works of healing myself from past regrets that no longer serve me today. A lot of what I've been working through is releasing what no longer serves me, and I allow what's meant for me to come in. That's something that's helped me on my journey transitioning into adulthood a few years ago, is just learning how to live your life with no regrets and letting go of the past, letting go of resentment, because it really hinders your progress for self-development as you get older. If you're holding on to those things that happened way back when, you still have a lot of charged feelings about them, that's a good indication that you should work on those things and understand that that happened in the past and there's nothing you can do about it except focus on that in the present, learn to release and let go and move forward. It is a difficult thing to do and it does take time, but I believe in you. You can do it. You can absolutely do it. I know it seems really hard for some of you to release and let go, but you can do it. I believe in you. If I can do it, you can do it. And I did it. So you could do it. And you're doing it. So back to the shoulda, coulda, woulda. Why didn't you compliment that person? Oh, well, what if they're with somebody? What if the worst they could say is, hey, I'm with somebody, but at least you gave your genuine compliment, you're not regretting it later. That's a really big one for me. I love giving genuine compliments to people because if something catches my eye, I'm like, hey, you look really beautiful today, or hey, I really like that shirt, or you have a really nice smile, or you have really nice eyes. And that's something that I'm like, even just in passing, just like, hey, I really like your singing. Hey, I really like that talent that you're displaying. Everybody loves to get those words of encouragement, not when you're like forcing it out of yourself or not when it like feels forced. It doesn't feel genuine. And there are people that are like tiptoeing in my life that think that they're giving a genuine compliment, but they're not, or they think that I can't tell that it's disingenuine. I'm too hyper aware when that happens because I am a person that feels a lot of things. I can feel when somebody's lying. I can feel when you're being disingenuine. If you're not giving back what I'm giving to you, I can feel that. And that's okay. You're not always going to be able to match the energy. And you're not always meant to match the energy, and that's totally fine. But if you feel like giving somebody a compliment, give them a compliment. I love compliments. I love them. They make my day. My customers at work give me compliments quite frequently, and it makes my day, especially if I'm like slinging drinks and it's busy and I'm like not feeling that great about myself in the moment. And then they're like, that was a really good drink, or I could tell you made that with a lot of love. And I'm like, I love y'all. Y'all are so sweet. Thank you. I really needed that right now. Even today, a customer came in. I like spilled milk on myself. He was like, yeah, I'll pretend I didn't see that or whatever. Because he could tell I like got a little embarrassed, but like stuff like that doesn't really embarrass me. It was just, there was so much going on, so I did get embarrassed about it. And I just moved on. I just had milk on me and it was fine. And he was like, can you remember the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to you? And I was like, no. And he goes, and neither do they. And I was like, whoa, okay, that's something to think about. So that made me feel a lot better, and I realized that no matter what embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me, literally nobody remembers it because I can't even remember it. And if somebody is holding on to that, I'm not gonna lie, that's kind of weird. So, and in that moment, he said what he wanted to say, and he said something I apparently needed to hear. So that was a really nice moment that was shared. That I wasn't expecting, and it made me feel better in the moment because I was busy and I was overwhelmed. And it made me feel a lot better. So, but yeah, if you're feeling like complimenting somebody, compliment them. You have nothing to lose. Why did you not apply for the dream job? The same applies. Did you think there was going to be somebody better than you in that position? What makes them better than you? Why do you feel that you're not worthy or deserving of that position or that job? Why are you discounting all the hard work that you've done to get yourself to this point where you're going after your dream job? Like, there's the application and you're like, I don't deserve it. There's somebody else out there better than me. And you know what? Somebody out there might be better than you, and that's perfect because you can learn from them. We all learn from each other. If you don't apply to that job and it gets filled and you're later on down the road like, damn, I was at that spot. I was at the point I almost submitted that application. Almost. Well, as I've learned within the past year, almost doesn't count. So no, you didn't. There was nothing. Now that person's probably living with some regret. Like, I should have done that. I could have done that. I would have, but insert excuse. And a lot of the times when we fear something, we put an excuse around it. We do that to validate ourselves in our decision for not doing what we set out to do, which takes away our accountability and responsibility for the action that we were gonna take. So it's like, oh, well, I almost went to the Olympics, but you didn't. So I only use that example because the Olympics were just happening. But yeah, just get out of your head and do it. It's not stupid. Whatever you're thinking of doing, it's not stupid. And somebody has done it before you. Just know that. All of our thoughts, they're recycled. If it's not a harm to other people or yourself, do it. But don't live your life with regrets. And if you have regrets now, learn to let them go. Because it's not worth it. It's truly not worth it. And as of right now, in this present moment, I regret nothing. And that's really awesome to say, that I don't regret a single thing in my life. I am exactly right where I need to be in this present moment. This is exactly where I need to be. Filming this podcast episode, being in my room, this moment right here is meant to happen. And it's happening. So I would not change anything prior to this. In the past, I don't want to project anything into the future because right now is the present moment where I should be focused. Because right now in the present moment is all that matters. So if you're living life with regrets and you think that, oh, I should be somewhere else by now in my life. You could be had you made different decisions, but the decisions you made led you to exactly where you are in this present moment. So you are exactly right where you need to be. That's your sign. Shoulda, coulda, woulda, doesn't matter. No regrets. We're living life with no regrets here. That's what y'all are gonna learn. That's what I want you to take away from this. But I am talking about you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So if you're nervous, if you're anxious, if you're scared to try something new, do it. Like I said, as long as it's not harming anybody else or yourself, do it. You don't want that regret later on in life being like, I should have done that, I could have done that, and I would have done that. That I've said way too many times in my life. I started hearing more people around me say it, and then I got annoyed, and I was like, why am I getting annoyed? Oh, because that's something I say that I don't like that I say that. Because I don't like living with regrets. If I say I'm gonna do something, I will do it. I'm a man of my word. A lot of the times, I gotta be careful with what I say because I could make promises and then they need fulfilled. And I learned in the past not to make promises I can't keep, which a lot of the times, promises aren't kept because tomorrow's not promised. So how can you promise somebody something in the future, you know? It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to delve in. So I'm going to reel this in a little bit, but I stopped saying what's the worst that could happen. And I said that to kind of lighten the blow of the really bad thing that could happen. Most of the time, the worst thing that could happen is somebody saying no to you. And I'm talking from a point of view of like, you want to give somebody a compliment or you ask somebody out. Another example, what's the worst that could happen is like reaching out to a family member you haven't spoke to in a long time. What's the worst that could happen, you know? But a lot of the times when we say that, it's like, okay, so I am thinking of the worst and I might accidentally manifest the worst. So what I started saying in turn of that is, what if it turns out better than expected? Why don't we think like that normally? Why do we always project the worst to happen? Because we prepare ourselves for that. We prepare and expect to fail. And that's something I learned within the past few months. When I went through my friend's program, I learned that I was expecting to fail. I only knew how to set myself up to fail, not succeed. I never anticipated success by any means. And recently I've succeeded a lot in my life. And I was like, whoa, I didn't prepare for this because I would always prepare for the worst. So when you start thinking about it in a different light of, hey, what if it does turn out better than expected? What does that look like? And then you're thinking about that and lo and behold, it manifests into reality. Your thoughts are so powerful and so are your words. So I spoke a lot of positivity into existence and was chatting with a friend and one day we noticed, boom, so many things just aligned that we had been talking about, and like manifesting. And I know not everybody believes in manifesting, and that's something that I believe in, but I only believe it because it's been true in my life. Like, I've thought about things, I've executed them, and there they are. It's exactly how I anticipated it. And back when I used to think, what's the worst that could happen, I would also anticipate that, and the worst did happen. But I wasn't upset about it because I knew it was going to happen. But that's when I was like, I need to flip this on its head and be like, okay, what if it turns out better than expected? What's the best thing that could happen from this? It's okay to set your bar higher. Don't have too high of expectations. Understand that literally anything can happen. Go in with a positive attitude with whatever you're gonna do. That's what's really helped me. You truly don't know unless you try, and that's the beauty of it. So what are you waiting for? What's holding you back from the thing that you really want to do? Execute it. Get it. Do it. If you believe you've got it, you've got it. Even if you don't like the food, at least you tried it. Don't like the sport, at least you tried it. Didn't enjoy the Pilates class? Hey, at least you tried it. The person didn't want to go out with you? At least you tried. At least you built up the courage to ask that person out. At least you built up the courage to ask that person to be your friend. At least you tried it. You're already a step ahead of the person that you were yesterday, who said, what's the worst that could happen? What is the worst that could happen? Oh, great, now I'm thinking of the worst. And what if that happens? So what if it does? You're being redirected. If something doesn't happen the way that you anticipate it to happen, know that you are being redirected. Trust the process. There's so many times in my life that I heavily anticipated such a positive outcome for something where I did flip it on its head, and I was like, you know what? What if it turns out better than expected? And then it didn't. And that was okay, because then something better came after that. And I was like, whoa, I actually wasn't meant for that. I'm actually more deserving of what just happened. And now I have this. And that's freaking incredible, because I was not anticipating that. That was a surprise to me. And that's great. So I knew that that rejection was a redirection, and that was incredible. And I do have an entire podcast episode on rejection as redirection. If you're watching this out of order, you go back and watch it. Heavily recommend. It's a really good lesson, at least in my opinion. If you believe even a slight potential will come from the shot that you're willing to take, shoot it, because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So shoot your shot. Had I psyched myself out with false projections, I would not have the people that I have in my life. I would not have the friends that I have. I would not have the acquaintances, the connections that I have if I didn't shoot my shot. Because before I learned how to do this, I would sit in my head all day with all these projections. And I'm like, this person thinks like this, and this is what they're thinking about me, and this is how they're thinking about me when they're looking at me, and when they're thinking about messaging me. And it's this false reality that you create in your head that's not actually going on. It's really not going on at all. To some extent, it could be. Don't boost your ego like that. It's better to just expect the unexpected and understand that other people are not thinking the exact same way as you. Understand that if something's not happening in the present moment, it's merely a projection. I wouldn't even be in the career that I'm in had I not asked for the help to get me there. Had I not started asking different types of questions when meeting people, I wouldn't have the friends and connections that I have. I wouldn't have the confidence that I have when I engage with other people. I would still have my head down. I would still have a hard time making eye contact with people. And now I'm able to look people in the eyes and have full, confident conversations with them. Sure, I can get a little nervous sometimes. I can get a little shy. But then I remember they're just a person as well. They're just like me. Also, if you are going to ask somebody out, because a lot of people my age are really into dating right now, or you're about to be in a relationship, or you're about to be in the dating field, or what have you, don't be afraid to shoot your shot. But understand that that person does not need to be on a pedestal. You're two equal people, and they should not be intimidating to you. They should not make you nervous. You should be excited about the potential opportunity that you could have with this person. But don't put them so far up that you put yourself beneath them. Because once you put somebody up, you've put yourself beneath them. Unless you're raising yourselves up, and there shouldn't be anything to be nervous about. You get each other, You've got nothing to lose, only to gain. Either you're gonna gain a new experience or you're gonna gain a new lesson. But just know that you've lost nothing by shooting your shot. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this week's podcast episode. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that this gives you some confidence and that you're able to go and tackle the things that you want to acquire in your life. Just know that no matter what, it's going to turn out exactly how it needs to turn out. Trust the process. The best way to support me doing this podcast and on my channel is to leave likes, comments, share it with your friends and family, and stay tuned for next week's episode. In the meantime, you can catch me on my socials. They are linked below. I will see you guys next week.